I turned myself in 2 days later. Not out of guilt. Not out of fear of prison. But because it was the only way to protect the last thing that still mattered, my family. The feds were ready. They had files, charts, photos. My face circled in red. They offered a deal before I even sat down, 10 years if I gave up Tony, Eddie, and the location of the rest of the money. I gave them the oak tree. But not the men. Tony was never found. Some say he fled to South America. Others believe he's dead, silenced by the same network that protected him. Eddie resurfaced in Miami 5 years later under a different name. He was arrested but never confessed. Luis did 12 years. Ray? He vanished into witness protection, still walking around somewhere under a name he didn't earn. As for me, I did my time. Every minute of it. And when I got out, the world had moved on. The headlines had faded. The vault had been rebuilt. But every night, I still heard that vault door clicking open. Still felt the weight of that bag in my arms. $11 million. The biggest cash heist of its time. But here's the truth nobody tells you. The money isn't the hardest part to steal. It's your soul. I made it to Philadelphia, then Baltimore, changing names like shirts. Motel to motel. I barely touched the cash, just enough to eat, just enough to move. Every headline was a pulse beat. Third arrest in Century heist. $3 million recovered in Bronx storage unit. Inside man still at large, FBI closing in. That last one? That was me. I started dreaming of Tony, standing in the shadows, watching. Not angry. Just disappointed. The man had turned betrayal into an art form, and now he was gone. No one knew where he was. No sightings. No calls. No traces. That scared me more than the FBI. Then, one night in a dingy motel outside Richmond, my burner phone lit up. Unknown number. I froze. Let it ring out. A minute later, a message came through. I told you not to trust anyone. Attached was a photo. My kids. Playing in our old backyard. No caption. No threat. But the message was clear. I hadn't just helped rob a vault. I'd opened a door that could never be closed. And now, even my silence had a price. The thing about rats? They don't just squeal once. Ray gave them everything: names, roles, locations. The deal was simple: cut time for full cooperation. He even offered to wear a wire. By the end of the week, Luis was in custody. Eddie vanished. And Tony? Tony went dark. I didn't wait. I burned every ID, ditched the car, and buried the rest of my cut 3 counties away under a dead oak stump. I knew they'd find some of it eventually, but not that. That was mine. Insurance. If I made it out alive. But the walls were closing in. News vans circled the Century building like vultures. FBI sketches of suspects hit the local stations. Mine didn't look much like me, yet, but I knew it was only a matter of time. Then I got the letter. It wasn't signed. No return address. Just 6 words on a folded page. You're next. Better run, Mike? I don't know if it was Tony or Eddie or someone else entirely. But it worked. I packed what little I had, burned the cabin down to the studs, and hit the highway under moonlight. No plan. No destination. Just flight. I kept looking in the mirror, expecting blue lights. But sometimes, the real danger isn't the cops. It's the people you used to trust. The first week in the cabin was pure paranoia. Every sound outside felt like sirens. Every knock at the door made my chest seize. I kept a duffel of cash buried under the floorboards and a pistol in the drawer, not for cops, but in case one of the crews showed up unannounced. I trusted them once. Never again. Then the phone rang. It was Luis. He shouldn't have called, that was the first rule. But his voice was panicked. Ray's gone off the rails. Spent nearly $100,000 already. Flashing it. Buying cars. Talking big. I clenched the receiver. We said no contact. No heat. He's going to sink us. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Ray, his twitchy eyes, the way he stared at Eddie's cut, how quiet he'd gone during the split. Greed. It always cracks first. And I was right. 2 days later, I saw the report on TV. Unrelated arrest in Brooklyn leads FBI to suspect ties to $11 million vault heist. Suspect under federal protection. They didn't say a name. But they didn't have to. It was Ray. Ray the muscle. The one with nothing to lose. The one we thought wouldn't fold. He folded. And that meant only one thing. We weren't just ghosts anymore. We were being hunted. We parked the van in an abandoned lot near Hunts Point, right where we planned. From there, the bags were split. 5 vehicles, 5 routes, 5 cities. Nobody went home. Nobody called family. Total blackout. Tony handed out the cash like a priest giving communion. Quiet. Controlled. Final. Each man took a little over $2 million in unmarked, small denomination bills, the kind that disappears fast into laundromats, pawnshops, and off-the-books real estate. It didn't even feel like money. Just weight. Heavy in more ways than one. Tony turned to me. Go upstate. Lay low. Use the debt account we set up. Don't touch the bulk for a month. You understand? I nodded. But I didn't move. Something was wrong. I could feel it. Not in Tony's face, that stayed calm, but in Ray's. His jaw was tight, eyes jumpy. He kept glancing at Eddie's bag. Eddie saw it too. Got something to say, Ray? Ray didn't answer. Tony stepped between them. No drama. We're ghosts now. Remember? We scattered like smoke. I drove north, up into the Catskills, using an old ID Tony gave me. I rented a cabin with a fake name and tried to sleep. Tried to pretend I hadn't just helped rob one of the most secure vaults in New York City. But I couldn't. Not with the news playing. Not when I saw the headline. $11 million gone, no suspects, no clues. They didn't know our names. But they would. And one of us would give them everything. We were halfway through the hall when the first noise hit, a metallic clank, faint, from somewhere near the rear hallway. Ray froze. Tony raised a hand. Wait. Everyone went still. Nothing. Just silence. Old pipes, Louise said, trying to believe it. But the air changed. Heavier. Tighter. Like the building was holding its breath. We kept moving faster now. Sweat beading under masks. My arms ached from the weight. Each bag we loaded felt heavier than the last. But time was running out, we could feel it. Tony kept the countdown. 10 minutes. That's all. I remember zipping up the last duffel, hands shaking. We had nearly $11 million loaded and rolling. It didn't feel real. Not until Eddie gave the signal. Go time. We slipped back through the loading dock, Luis locking the vault behind us to slow discovery. Eddie had rigged the back van plate to drop and be replaced by a fake one in transit. We left no prints, no cameras, no witnesses. We drove off into the night like phantoms. But I couldn't breathe. Even with all that money, packed under floorboards, hidden beneath crates, my lungs burned with a question I couldn't ask. What if we just made the worst mistake of our lives? Tony was all smiles. We did it. We really did it. Luis laughed. Ray exhaled for the first time in hours. But I just stared out the window, at the New York skyline blinking in the distance. We weren't free yet. And something told me, we never would be. There's something eerie about a place you know too well, when you walk through it in silence, knowing this time everything is different. The hallways were dark. Emergency lights hummed softly overhead. No guards. No footsteps. Just the 5 of us, ghosts in the belly of a vault. We moved fast. Every second counted. Luis went to the alarm box near the main hallway, popped the panel, clipped the wires. His hands didn't shake. He was surgical. Tony gave me the nod. I stepped to the biometric panel near the vault entrance and keyed in my code. A second code was needed, a manager's override. Normally impossible. But Tony had spent weeks tailing the night supervisor, watching him punch in those 6 digits at 2 a.m. every shift. He had it memorized. I typed prints, shift logs, delivery schedules. We studied everything. Luis mapped out the alarm systems down to the minute. Eddie found an alley camera that hadn't worked in 5 years. Tony? He watched people. I worked at the Sentry Armored Car Company in Queens, a big concrete block with cameras, guards, and a false sense of invincibility. It screams when the eviction notice hits the door. So yeah, I said yes. 1 inside man. 1 key to the building. And 1 plan to take $11 million in untraceable cash without firing a single shot.